Right, we're just going to show you how to make a wishbone rig, which is probably the most versatile fishing rig you're going to use. Originally designed for shallow water fishing, over banks, along the south coast it would be the Skerries, the Shambles, and all estuarine sort of situations where there's bars. Using the two hooks, it's going to give you a chance to use two different baits, you know, and also different size hooks for different species. So fish attract fish, so with flatfish in particular, they do gorge the bait. So leave a fish that's already on and it'll often attract another. So double shots are not uncommon. So the first part of the rig is going to be a short piece of heavy mono, and this is just a vehicle for this link ledger to slide on. So you can attach your braid or mono to the end swivel here, instead of directing a link ledger on braid, which is going to get chafed. So a short piece like that will suffice. I generally use sort of 40 pound, unless the bottom is really shaly or muscly. So that part there is already completed, just for saving time. We're going to get on to the blood loop dropper, which I think is the best way to use a wishbone and to make it. Very, very simple. So a series of overhand knots, generally 10 or 12 turns will suffice. So simple overhand knot and then a continuation. This is the fiddly bit. You can make your dropper as long as or as short as you like, but experience fishing the Plaice fishing marks over a number of years has told me short traces are preferred. There's different schools of thought, and maybe if there's other species on the card like bass, then I might use a slightly longer one. But here we have a loop with a load of turns in it. So I'm going to pick up the middle loop, the middle of the loops. So pick the center of all these twists, open it out, reach through and pick up the main line there. Hold that loop, pull that down, a little bit of spit so we don't get no line burn, and then we'll just tease that up. This is going to be your top dropper, so we'll then cut that one short. That doesn't look a long rig, but that is sufficient. You know, double shots of fish are commonplace on this rig. So now with this swivel here, I'm going to attach to the wishbone itself via a sort of a 3 or a 4 turn grinner. There we go. Now you can put as much bling on as you like. I prefer beads alternated with sequins. There's a good selection in here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. Well, I'll put some in my hand. So, colours preferred, contrasting colours, strong colours. Yellows and reds, green and blacks are very, very popular now. Mixed in with, I say, the oval flashing sequin blades, or a large chrome and copper sequins, which is what I prefer. Gold beads are good also. But yellows and reds, green and blacks, yellows and reds, for me, are the colours to aim for. So the finished product is going to look something like this. Now this one's slightly longer than normal, but you know, generally 3 foot for the completed thing. And I would be often, if I was casting from the boat over shallow ground, I would use a ball lead rather than a bomb, just so there's plenty of movement. So cast wide from the boat in a tidal situation where you can allow the rig to be pulled round to cover ground, and it'll also find features which are fish holding areas. And this one has also got a fixed pennel as it's the last hook off the wishbone. So there's actually 3 on this, but it means you can mount a larger bait on the wishbone on the back end. So you could put a strip of mackerel on there, a strip of bluey, or you know, a launce or something like that. But mounting this top hook fixed on the panel, you can actually, the wrist of the sand eel or a wrist of a fillet of mackerel, leave a tiny little bit of bone in the wrist of the mackerel, because this will stop the fish slopping down round the bend of the hook, which is what can happen when you're drifting. You're basically going to drag a bait over a bank, so it can work its way round the bend of the hook, can result in a missed bite when you do get one. So it could be a bonus fish like a turbot or something like that back home, or whatever in Norway. So here we go. Bait on there, green sequins and beads. You can in fact have a one hook length slightly popped up if you wanted to have this longer. You could have some floating beads here, so you could have one that's nailed to the bottom and one that's just sat up. This will often catch the eye of other species. So there we have it. That's your wishbone rig. And your lead goes on there. So that's it.